What's up, guys? This is Ronnie. Welcome back to our channel, Total Technology again. So, today I'm gonna continue the Active Directory automation tutorial. So, this is going to be part 8. So, let me just highlight it one name, tutorial 8. And today's topic will be like object attribute, uh, object attribute, some sort of like object attribute update or remove or append. Like if it's a single valued attribute, then we can just update or remove, or it's a multi-valued attribute, then we can just do some sort of append as well. So I'll be taking like one example of one multi-valid attribute and one example of one single valid attribute, and today's like we'll be going to cover only on user object. But again, I'll be going to use one single thing like pi ad object. Then there is, irrespective of the user type, if you are like if you are giving like proper name like with respect to dn or cn, this is going to like perform whatever is your requirement. So for, let's say, uh, let me just create one ad object like this. Then it will be like pi ad dot ad object, then ad object, then from, let's say, from cn. Okay, so this is a signature of this method. So let me just, okay, I'm taking the example of this attribute. So okay, I'll be updating in this field, like in the notes within telephone. So this is the name of the attribute will be info, like this thing. Okay, so I know because I have some like idea about this attribute things and all from the lab structure from the Microsoft documentation. I have done some projects on that. That's why I know this thing. So but again, you guys can do any of this thing operation, but this is kind of just my favorite thing. Okay, so the attribute name will be info. So what I'll do, I will just keep, let's say, info, and after that we'll be going to update something like updated by python. Okay, so let's run this thing. If we run this thing, that object will be updated automatically and the attribute will be populated with this thing. Okay, I'm not sure. Okay, sorry, actually I did a mistake, like before doing that. Okay, oh my bad. Sorry, I did a mistake. First I need to generate this thing like object, and after that there is something called like pi ad dot ad object dot ad object, then update attribute, and inside that attribute you have to pass this ad object. Well, ad object, then you have to pass the attribute name info, and after that the value. Okay, so I just did this part in this above line. Okay, so terminated means done. So let me just open this thing in telephone. I'm not sure why this is not updating. Okay, it's updated by python. So let me try this thing again, like updated by python 1. Okay, updated by python 1. So it's a single valid attribute, so that is why every time it is going to update. So if we gonna take some like group example, let's say, okay, let's say this one from the group, like I think this is the group name. Okay, well, we'll try this thing now. I think this is also done. Let me just refresh this thing. Updated by python 1. Okay, so like earlier we used to do it with using pi ad user, then pi ad group. Okay, this is one nice thing like ad object, so I could have done this before, but just to give you guys some like basic understanding of like of user object and group objects, how they're different, they're not the same object. If I'm going to do it within this AD object, then probably it could be confusing for some of the students. So that is why I did those things before, like AD user, AD object, AD user, AD groups. But now, as you guys have already developed some sort of understanding and kind of concept about active directory structure and objects, so I think it is the right track to use this thing at this moment. So here we completed this thing with some sort of single valid attribute. Now let's like single valid attribute updation. Now probably we can do something like how to remove that attribute. So let's say the attribute is updated with this thing. Now if you want to remove this, you have to just make this thing like this blank. Okay, so this is done. Now if I refresh this thing, let me just refresh this thing, see that attribute has gone. And if somebody has thinking that there is something, some values are there like blank or something like that, so no, it is not like that. You can just check it, like let's say print length of ad object dot get attribute and info. So it is going to write 0 only. If you check this thing, say 0, it means it is not going to set any values like some null thing or something like that. It is completely removing that attributes. The attribute values actually, not removing the attributes. Means there are two things, like removing attributes means you are actually itself removing the fields from that. No, there is nothing like that. In Active Directory, you can only remove the values from the attribute. Okay, so this is on like single valued operation. Like you can do it some now multi-valued thing. So let me just comment this thing over here. Okay, now we'll be doing it for some, we just keep another name like uh, single valued attribute. Okay, let me just mute my microphone for some time, so that if someone is going to like take a note, they can take it, because I'm not going to update this video, I'm not going to update this code in the GitHub at this moment. So just go through the code, and if you want to take a note from this code, you can do it. So I'm just keeping myself mute for 2 minutes and just open my screen in this format for 2 minutes. Okay. Well, guys, I think now we can start the multi-valued part. So just multi-valued attribute. So let me just give you one example of one multi-valued attribute, how they look. Okay, let me just open one thing. Not okay, all attributes are here now. Let's say open this thing, our favorite user, like attribute editor. There's something called proxy addresses. So this is one multi-valued attribute. Let me remove this thing. So how they are, see that this is our values, and you can add. And mostly if you open this attribute, see this is single value, that is why only coming up like this. And if it's a multi-valued attribute, it will come like this. Okay. You can add anything like this, then this. And proxy address is actually required for some sort of email routing. So mostly this is useful when you are having like multiple like email domains, and your company has gone through like several time of migration with from old exchange server to new exchange server, and probably some different email server to different, like from Lotus Notes to exchange, from exchange to Google Cloud, and from Google Cloud to again some other probably anything. So in that time, you have to keep track of all your routing tables in the form of SMTP address. So you could update this attribute values using those things. So these are completely again Active Directory and Exchange mail routing things. You don't have to worry about that. If those are only administrator, they only get these values in the form of like list, and definitely it will come like via some sort of support ticket. You have guys have to just do it like okay. So let me just what I'll do, I'll remove this thing. So now this attribute is kind of like nothing is set in this attribute, it's blank, so I can update this attribute. Let me just copy this thing. Okay, let's open this thing. So again the same thing, ad underscore object equals to pi ad dot ad object dot ad object, and then dot from cn, and inside the cn I have to just pass this thing like this. Okay, sorry, this is not the cn. Again I did a mistake. So our cn will be a double a lambda. Okay, so a l a m d a, and now I have to just update this thing, pi ad dot ad object dot ad object dot update. Last time we used update, this time we'll use append attribute, something called append to attribute. Okay, so the signature is self attribute and values to append, and the self means this ad object. Okay, this thing, and attribute you all know it is going to be like proxy addresses, and values should be in a form of list because it's a multi-valued attribute. So let me give you smtp colon a.com, then smtp colon b.com, and probably another thing will be capital smtp, that is the primary email address for internet routing, so probably that is going to be like ab.com. Okay, just an example. Okay, so let me run this thing terminated means it's completed. So guys, I'm not using any try catch exception block, but in case of actual real project or scenario, you must use try catch exception blocks, and I'm not gonna cover those things because it's already covered in our Python like tutorial and topics. So this is the attribute editor. Where is the proxy address? I think this, see, smtp colon a.com, capital smtp ab.com, small smtp b.com. So it's quite natural, and the thing is that let's say if you want to do it again, so it will throw an error. Let's check this thing. Okay, why this is not throwing an error, I'll tell you. No, actually I forgot. I let me rephrase it in a different way. Let's what I was trying to say, like where is proxy address? Yes, let's say you want to again update smtp colon, what happening? Okay, it's again became German. So why German? Someone asked me. Like actually I'm living in Germany, that's why it's always German. See, value already exists in the list, you want to add it, so it will allow you, it will do it, but when you are going to save it, it will throw an error. Okay, so but in our case, why this is not throwing an error, somebody could ask me. So this is like, if you go to this documentation like append attribute, like see, this is actually checking, like here you are passing the values in the form of list, and after that it is actually generating like this list, and after that it is actually doing some sort of company comparison between the user existing attribute, like self.get attribute, we all know, like it is actually getting the user attribute, and after that it is like generating some sort of difference. If the length of the difference is not zero means not zero means it is definitely not zero means it will be one, and length is always going to be integer, so it must be like something not which is not zero, but definitely it could be 1 or 100. So it is not zero, then it is going to apply. So that is why in our case we are not getting this error. Like where is that auto? Where is that? Okay, that is why in our case we are not getting this error. Okay, because our exception is already handled by this like library, this library, not this library written, but this piece of method which I you can get easily from here. Okay, but if you're doing it in manually, then probably we'll get some sort of error. Okay, and in some cases, like one of my first project, like it's like long back in 7 8 years ago, that time we used to have like more than 50 one primary smtp and more than 50 secondary smtps, and that time it was very difficult to like update those things. And if you are getting some sort of error, then that time, because that time we were running some sort of PowerShell scripts and VB script, it was pretty difficult to track like for which attribute it is actually throwing the error. And that time it was not very much like efficient to get those like exceptional thing and exception handling and all. So but anyways, time changes gradually, everything improved, so we have this Python and all, so we can do it. Okay, now the next thing is that how to remove this thing. Like okay, so we can do it like remove from attribute. Now ad object proxy address, let's say I want to remove these two values. Okay. Sorry, I want to keep these two values like b.com and ab.com. I want to remove a.com. Like let's say if you're having, let me just open this thing so it will be easier to understand. So we have a.com, ab.com, b.com. So you want to remove ab.com and b.com. Okay, you want to only, sorry, you want to keep ab.com and b.com. You want to remove this thing. Okay. So let me just run this thing. Terminated means it's done. So let me just refresh this thing. Okay, attribute editor. See, a.com has gone now. So only ab.com and b.com is there. So this is like very efficient and this is very fast, and we do not have to worry about like exceptional handling and duplicate checking. It will be automatically done by the code. Okay. So let me just keep this thing open for some time, and after that I'll be concluding the video. But I will be doing another part on the same topic, like how, like here we are doing it for only single attribute. I'm just passing one attribute, like let's say here I'm just passing one attribute and updating. But there are some cases like you have to update attributes, like you have to just use update attributes, like this is also there. um, like say update attributes, and here actually updates multiple attributes in a single transaction. So you have to just pass the dictionary kind of a thing, like key value pair. Key means the attribute name, value is the attribute value. In that way you can update like multiple attribute in the same time using like one piece of code or one line of code more like specifically. So we'll do it in the next video. So for today's video that's enough, I think. It's Sunday, like people are in a chill mode, so I'm also kind of uh, I'm also having some plan for going outside. So let's keep this video short. I'm not sure how short this one, probably 10 or 15 minutes, but that's enough. Like we have learned two three things like in a single video. That's enough, and I am highly recommend you guys to create some sort of list. List means some sort of node, and after that just update your repository with this piece of code and start doing practice. Start to apply these things on your own project or for recommend your customers. So the more you interact with these things with your people or your customer or your manager, with your friends and colleagues, some more idea will maybe come out from your mind or from your same friend's mind, or someone said some like kind of in the form of suggestion. Also it can come from your like your friends, colleague, or seniors, your boss or your client. So after that you could apply these things using like on your own methods or own technique or on your own requirement. So in that way you can just gradually increase your knowledge, and also you will develop this sort of techniques. So these things are highly recommended to use for all like administrator, those are actually using these things. But again, in the second part like of this tutorial will be like a kind of reporting kind of a thing, and that will be actually most important things, like how to get the insight of your own Active Directory domain infrastructure and the objects. So that will be more intense, more detailed session. But again, this first part, like the administrative part, is not yet over. Probably there will be 10 or 15 more videos, and after that I'll be going to start. And the dashboarding or reporting or audit part will be, why I'm saying it will be more intense, because that in that part we'll be generating live kind of a report, dashboard structure, everything, every detailed knowledge about your own domain or infrastructure. You can get those from those tutorials. So that's all, guys. That's all for today. Hope to see you in the next video. But before going, or before saying goodbye, guys, please subscribe to our channel, hit the bell icon, so that you should not miss any notification. Also, if you like our videos, enjoying our videos, please give some sort of positive comment, like in our videos. So those are having some comments, feedback, or clarification, wanted us to create some more tutorial on some your specific topic, please do let us know via Facebook post, or can directly email me, or you can update us via YouTube comment. And also, if possible, if you think these videos could be or will be or would be helpful for someone, please share those videos with your friends, colleagues, or whoever is suitable, because we also would like to reach some larger amount of larger audience, definitely. So it will create some sort of visibility within the YouTube or internet. So guys, that's all for today. Hope you guys will write me lots of comments and feedback. So see you in the next video. Till then, take care, goodbye, have a nice weekend.